I've known Jane for many years, probably 15 years, I think, but I'm not really good with numbers. That's not my specialty. And we've had a lot of fun together, and we've had a lot of deep, meaningful conversations and a lot of laughter. And I think what I want to ask you is, when I started out in this business, I felt that women weren't as there for each other as we are now, as we know to be now. And I want to know what that was like for you when you started, the support that you felt from women. How was it? Who was it?
I remember it absolutely vividly. And I can tell you that anti-war activists had created these coffee houses outside of military bases where guys could come and learn about the history of Vietnam. Long story short, I'm in Killeen, Texas, outside of Fort Hood, in a coffee shop. I stayed there for quite a while because they had me leafleting the base and speaking at rallies. The woman who ran the base, her name was Terry Davis. She was different than any female that I had met because up until then, pretty much we competed with each other. And I don't know, I didn't have very many women friends. I grew up in the 40s and 50s thinking the way to grow up is to be a lone ranger, to be like guys, I can stand on my own, I don't need anybody. And that's just the way. And so I met this woman was running the coffee house, and she treated me differently than I'd ever been treated before. Not like a celebrity or anything. She looked me in the eye. She wanted to know how I felt. Did I feel okay going onto the base? Did I feel safe speaking at the rally? The way she treated the GIs, it was like looking through a keyhole at the future that we were fighting for. And being with her was like, I don't know, it was like getting into a warm bath. I felt safe, and I just thought, I want to be like her. And all the women in the movement that I kept meeting they were just new kinds of beings that I'd never met. And that of all the things that happened to me in the first years of my activism, that was what affected me the most and made me realize I'm on the right track. I want to become a person like them who is present and who really has empathy for other women and men. She was the first person. She brought a feminist into the coffee house to talk to GIs about the women's movement, which I thought was really gutsy. And it affected all of us. I don't know, but it changed the whole way that I felt about women. And up until that point, for me, the women's movement was a waste of time. What are all these women talking about all these things for? The war is what matters. We got to end this. And it had a big effect on me. And now, of course, it's women are in my life. I've closed up shop and
Have you closed up shop? Is it a wrap? What do you mean?
It's a wrap.
It is.
One of the reasons is because, see, Chelsea, you'll understand this. I like young flesh. I like young skin. If I was going to have an affair now, it would be with somebody about 20 years old. But I don't want to subject any 20-year-old to my skin. So I've closed up shop. I don't even think about it anymore.
I feel like, yes, but I think that should be their decision. I feel like there would be some willing participants, a lot of them. And if they're willing to go for it, then what's to stop anyone from giving each other pleasure?
I'm too vain now. I'm 70, I'm 80. How old am I? 86. I'm 86 and a half almost. I mean, it's just, it's over. And I don't miss it at all. I only dream once a week about it. That's not enough to me. I have so much more time, to do things.
Well, you are busy doing things. So Jane, this podcast, it's called Dear Chelsea. So we give advice to actual real people. And I really couldn't deny anyone getting advice from you because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So Catherine, what do we have in store?
Sabrina says, Dear Chelsea, my mom doesn't text and she doesn't even really use a cell phone. A couple of years ago, my dad sent me a non-photo sext message on accident. Obviously not meant for my mother. I lit into him, but ultimately forgave him after a few months and kept his little indiscretion between the two of us. He had his own justifications and apologies, and I just eventually let it go. Then the other night, my dad and I were texting, and he sent me yet another message. It was not quite a sext, but it was pretty risque, and yet again, obviously not for my mom. He and my mom have been married for 40 plus years, and I don't know what to do. Do I tell her? Do I tell my brother? Do I keep this to myself? I already expressed my anger and disappointment to my dad, and I've asked him to no longer text me, ever. I feel numb and just do not know what to do. I don't think I have the capacity to forgive this again. Sabrina.
Wow, this is a conundrum. Something similar happened to me, but it wasn't between mother and father. But what I would do is have a conversation with your mother, but just make it very casual, but try to find out how she feels about the marriage. I mean, if you get a sense that being in the marriage is her foundation, that it is absolutely essential to her being able to get along in life, then I wouldn't tell her. If she's ever considered killing him, if she's ever considered, no, I always knew that my marriages were about to end because I would fantasize about his funeral.
Oh, wow.
And maybe she does that. But if she's kind of thought, God, I'd kind of like to be alone now, then maybe she should know that his head is somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the primary concern, I think, is for her.
Yes.
After 45 years, if she is totally dependent on him and would be completely unhappy and adrift if he wasn't there, then I wouldn't tell her and just let it continue. Why rock the boat after 45 years? But if she's not, and she's just there because that's life, then why not help her to understand that he's not?
And does he think, sorry, you said your mom doesn't text, so
No.
you know that it's not directed towards her,
Correct.
right? Is that, oh, okay.
Yeah, she
Copy
doesn't.
that.
She has a flip phone for emergencies that she keeps in the car. She doesn't text at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could conjecture that your mother probably doesn't give a shit what he's up to. You know what I mean? Like, it's if they've been married that long and he's up to that, she's probably slightly checked out. So I agree with Jane completely, like, get the temperature. And then I always want to show up for women, always. Mothers, daughters, sisters, any woman. I want them to know the truth and then make their own decision. I don't ever want to make a decision and I think that's the trouble with men, is that they think they can make our decisions for us by not being honest and upfront. It's like, okay, you want to have sex with other women? Great, tell me. And then if I decide I'm okay with that, then I'm okay with that. But you don't get to make the decision for me. So I would get the temperature, and then I would always err on the side of being truthful, unless you think your mom is in a position that she just can't bear to hear it or handle it.
No, I definitely think she's strong. She's the fiery one, so she's definitely like the louder out of the two.
Right.
Chelsea, you use the word checked out. Do you think she's checked out?
I think she's exasperated. They're at the point where she vents a lot to me about things that he does that irritate her, day-to-day things. They both live together and work together. So they are together all the time. And I can see the strain. Him calling someone babe and saying, I'm really enjoying my time with you, babe, and this and that, babe. And I was like, oh no, now he's that guy. My dad's that guy.
Yeah, and actively having an affair, it sounds like. Yeah, I think you have to go to your mom. You're her daughter. Yeah, and you're not your father's secret keeper. Like,
No.
you don't owe him anything. He f***ed up not once, but twice. So, like, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Maybe one time you could be like, okay, I'll look away, but not twice. Like, how many times is he going to do? That's just icky, because now you're involved in this without him meaning to.
And if she is venting to you about her feelings and her dissatisfactions and stuff, then that shows you right there that I thought maybe she was a sort of a meek housewife that, wouldn't be able to tolerate not being able to be with a guy. Some women just have to be with a guy no matter what. How old is she?
She's 77.
She's 10 years younger than me. And she could start another. Has she ever had another relationship, do you think?
No, not as far as I know.
I mean, Jane, is that something you think you would want to know if you were that age, married to someone for that long?
I would have wanted to know. Yeah. But I know there's some women that wouldn't, but I would have wanted to know. And when you said that you described her and the things she talks to you about, it sounds like she's somebody who probably would want to know.
I think she definitely would.
Yeah.
Because listen, you would want someone to do that for you, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Yes, I would want to know.
Yeah. And so what? She's 77. Like, that's not a way to judge the situation, you know? Like, oh, that's like discounting someone because of their age is not right either. Oh, they've been married 45 years. Who cares? Like, that's not the right way to look at it. And that's not how you're looking at it. But I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going, what's the point? It's like, what do you mean? No, every person.
77,
Like,
she could go on and be happy.
Mhm.
yeah. Jane just closed shop up at 86. She's closing shop up. And yeah, so she has another 9 good years left of business.
But no, I actually 10 years ago I closed. It's been 10 years.
Oh,
Well, okay. Report back. Keep in touch
Yes.
and let us know how that goes.
okay. Will do.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for calling in, Serena.
We'll have you in our hearts.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Take care. What a shitty feeling to have that burden, you know, like to have to
Yes.
break some bad news to your own parent.
I know. That's rough. That's really rough.